So I basically already recorded this video. I recorded it yesterday, in fact. So here's a quick recap. A while ago, I bought some cameras off of a friend of mine that was downsizing his collection a little bit. Included in that purchase was my Chinon 35F, my Sun 660, and my Olympus OM2. Very nice cameras. And included in that purchase of cameras was my Yashika FX-3 for free. So yesterday, I skinned the camera.
That's not good.
I skinned it again.
Oh yeah.
Took some very bad measurements
1 5/8.
and poorly rewrapped it.
And we stick her down.
Which is what you see here today. But I didn't like the lighting, so I got new lighting. I didn't like my hair getting in the shot, so I got a haircut. I didn't like how tired I sounded, and I didn't like my arms, so I got sleeves. So overall, it was a bad video. And other than clips that I might splice in here or there in this video, you're not going to see it. So instead, you get to see me fix my mistakes. And there are many with this guy. See, a lot of my measurements were ultimately just guesstimating because these are very uneven surfaces. Like this one I probably could have figured out if I tried hard enough with my methods, but I didn't. There's gaps on both sides. This one's really bad. Especially with these curves on these, I was basically just cutting it kind of like how it looked, sticking it on there, seeing how it looked, cutting it again, and sending her home. And on this side, I cut it too long, so there's a bubble, and it wraps over the edge. And on this side, it's just cut badly. I cut the corners wrong, and there's a lot of the backing of the fake leather showing through. And even on these circle bits here, they're kind of just a little wobbly, and they don't look very good. And you may be wondering, Dragon Fruit, if you have all these really nice SLRs they have multiple lenses for, and are built much better, and are much nicer, why do you care so much about this one? Hat. Now you're in here too. Because they don't really make film cameras anymore. At least not very good ones. And the more of these that I can save and get in good, working, and cosmetic condition, the more there are in circulation, even if I hoard them. Quick side note about these were bought from a fellow furry. And they left a very nice note with them. Very lovely. Thank you, Sarka. So just so you have a frame of reference, this is what the old bits look like. And this is what they look like on the camera. Awful. And even though it looks better, it's not great, right? It looks great from a distance, but unfortunately, I don't use it from a distance. I use it from about this far away. And I think it looks terrible. So today we're gonna fix it. Thankfully, since this adhesive isn't like 40 years old, it should be pretty easy to get back off. Now, I guess I'll clean that up. Pick these little bits out. Pick these bigger bits out. There's one. This other one takes some extra disassembly. There we go. Ta-da. And now it's naked. Oh, gee, sorry, where are my manners? Anywho, the new stuff did leave a bit of residue in a couple places, so I'm gonna go clean those off and I'll be right back. Editor, can I get a silly transition? Thanks, editor. So now that all the old new adhesive is on, we can get putting the new adhesive on, right? Now, like I said, when I was doing these yesterday, I was just taking some very rough measurements of things, and like the rounded corners, I was straight up just eyeballing those with a pair of scissors. We're not doing that today. Now, I've scoured the internet, and there aren't really any stencils for doing this. The closest thing I could find was already pre-cut pieces of leather that you can just paste on it, but there's no fun in that. So this bonehead's gonna make his own. How, you may ask? Tape. See, originally I was using the old pieces as stencils. However, the only issue is they're old. They're not in great shape, and in the midst of peeling them off, they kind of stretch out a bit. You can tell by the fact that that's an egg and not a circle. So it got me thinking of, how can I do this better? And being a man of many trades, I have some other aspirations. And the way that people do those things when they're putting the fur on is they wrap it in tape and then cut out those pieces of tape to the sizes that they need and use those as stencils. So I'm gonna do something similar. I need to straighten out that line. Perfecto. That line too. Mwah. Just gonna use some tweezers for now to kind of press it into the seams here. Yeah, something like that. And something like that. Next piece. Same idea. Looking good, looking good. Just make sure the edges are nice and tidy. I'm gonna go around the perimeter with a pencil. And the pencil is really good for these corners where it's rounded because it really helps you press the tape down into them. I reckon that's pretty good. Now I'm gonna very carefully go around the edge with an X-Acto knife. Oh, that's a good scratch. I mean, to be fair, it's not like the rest of the camera's immaculate. It'll be fine. And there we go, that's our stencil. Now I just need to ever so carefully peel up one of these edges. Once we have that peeled off, we want to transfer it to our replacement leather. I'm using this stuff. This is supposed to be a leather patch for like furniture, like your kids poke a pencil through your couch or something and you want to fix it. That's what this stuff is for. As you may have noticed, however, this is not a couch. I don't see anything that says do not use on cameras though on the packaging, so I think it'll be fine. Brand doesn't really matter, just make sure it's not terribly thick. This stuff's pretty thin. Just gonna... Ooh, hold on. Now that we have this, I'm going to transfer it over to my leather. Try stick it right along one of these edges, especially the top and bottom because I know they're good edges. And there we go. Now, we cut it out. I imagine an X-Acto knife or like an actual leather cutting tool would be pretty good for this. However, I don't have any leather working tools. And while yes, you did just use an X-Acto knife, it's not a very good one and it's kind of dull. I just use it for cutting paper. So box cutter it is. When you are cutting, make sure you're going straight down or at an angle facing away from the piece, because if you're cutting into the piece, you're gonna have a white edge along the border of this, and it doesn't look good. Let's peel this off. Peel this off. I'm gonna give this the slightest bit of a stretch just to make sure it can reach that edge. Look at that. It goes all the way to every edge. You don't have a whole bunch of white peeking out. Still definitely not perfect, but it's way better than it was. I reckon we can knock this out real quick. Unlike the rest of the panels, these mostly held their shape whenever they were peeled off, so I'm just gonna use these. Still a little bit of adhesive on them, so I can just kind of tack them down. Oh wait, I do have a leather cutter, but that's not what we're using. Ah, I dropped them. Scissors. If I was really smart, I just measure the diameter of this and use a compass to draw on this, but I don't feel like doing that. I don't know where my drafting tools are. So, let's see. Like a glove. See, we don't need no compass. Nice. Now we'll do this part. This is where things get a little bit more tricky because we're dealing with some more complex curves. Same general idea. Just try to get it in those curves. Just kind of running my fingernail along here to make sure it's nice and in there. Give it a little slice. And now I just gotta peel this one off. Transfer it over to our leather. Nice. I kind of do want to try this thing. It's a mean looking pizza cutter. Cool. Never forget the bev, never, never. Nice. Peely peel. Cover that hateful thing back up. I have a lot of open, sharp things I need to clean up. That's a little better. Line her up. Use to line up the corners first. Nice. Oh, baby, would you look at that? almost perfect, but I'm satisfied. Now we just gotta do the difficult one. This part is difficult like this part because it has the same curve here and then the curve here. There's also a little shelf because of the lens release and also the circle where the timer is. So we gotta account for all that. Here, work that in. Because of this odd shape, I do need to cut this to get this sit right. Reckon that'll be pretty good. I'm gonna lay it roughly over where it's gonna sit. Let's make some quick relief cuts in the paper. That way I can kind of just push it through the paper. Give it some help. I have to add another piece of tape back there. We're just gonna give this a little slice. That's sort of what I wanted. Yeah. Okay, now I just need to figure out how to get one back there. Camera angles are hard. Now I just kind of gotta work. This is very difficult. Score the line. Score that line. Cut this. There we go. Now if I can get this whole piece off in one piece, that would be fantastic because it would make my life so much easier. Oh yeah. Yeah. Very. Oh. Okay. I can work with this. Just gotta straighten this out. Straighten that out. Bring back the evil pizza cutter. Just gotta very carefully chip out a notch up here. I reckon that'll be pretty good. I reckon that'll do. And now, the circle. That's not circular. We are getting somewhere. That's a circle, right? I feel like I kind of want to cut that a little, just a tad deeper. I know you probably didn't see most of that because I was leaning over it the whole time. But I think it's ready. I try to very carefully and gingerly peel this off in case I need to use it again. And I really hope I don't gotta. Peel the backing off. So I can already tell the hole isn't big enough. But I can still kind of just stretch it around it. You know, we're gonna start from this side actually. I didn't bevel the edges. Okay. Now, man, circles are very difficult. It's gonna push that down as much as I can. Hopefully I can just peel that back. Yeah, I think I'm satisfied with that. Now I can put this back on, give it a little screw in action. Nice. And now for the last bit, the tiny little spot that goes right there. Yeah, that'll do. I reckon that'll do. Now we just gotta get that situated in there. There we go. Nice. Well, despite my best efforts, it's still not perfect, but ultimately, it is much better than it was, because that first go at it was not good. All the edges line up very nicely. All the bevels line up with the corners, and this looks so much better in here. And even like these round ones, because they weren't perfectly round, they just stood out like a sore thumb. But now, they look wonderful. If you enjoy seeing videos like this, I promise you there's more on the way, so be sure to subscribe. If you want to hear my random ramblings and you like my sense of humor, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. If you like my photography stuff, my Instagram will be in my bio. And I'll see you next time.